All right, as we continue, chapter 6, the law of compensation. The law of compensation states that we are compensated in direct proportion to our deeds. In alchemy, the first law of equivalent exchange states that humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain something of equal value must be lost, okay? In order to activate the law of compensation, one must understand that your compensation or pay will be equal or greater than the original service that you provide or render. That's all. This is almost like a cheat code in the universe. Basically, it says that if you do a little bit more that is required, you're going to get paid more for it, okay? So, once again, I always like to give an example in real estate when I'm working with my coaching clients on how these laws can work for you. And I teach my clients how to build relationships with buyers first before they go out there and get deals. And when you're working with a buyer in the wholesaling realm and a buyer closes a deal for you and you get your first check, normally, you know, the wholesaler is just excited. You know, he shakes the buyer's hand and he says thank you and he goes on about his way. But if you harness the law of compensation in this process, if your buyer closes a deal for you and you're trying to enrich the relationship, think about how you can do more. Think about how you can advance the situation, okay? And when I say that, think about, well, hey, man, this man just gave me a gift. I made $10,000. Let me go see if I can actually give him a gift. You know, hey, actually supply lunch for his office and his employees. What that's going to do for you is actually enrich the relationship in which more benefits can come out of that situation for you. He can maybe fund your first deal, become your first private lender without you even having to do a credit check. By harnessing the law of compensation, doing more than what is required. Okay, this is the cheat code, once again, that I'm providing you guys before we go into real estate, that most of the average person in real estate is not thinking about doing, okay? The law of compensation, one of my favorite. Let's go to the next. Chapter 7, the law of non-resistance. The law of non-resistance means that you are able to process whatever comes your way without becoming showered in negativity or having that, oh, my life is coming to an end attitude that many people typically use when responding to a major challenge in their lives. I think this is one of the most powerful laws that we can harness because many of my clients that's coming into my coaching program are going through multitudes of pain. They're going through multitudes of trauma. They're going through multitudes of negative programming in their life. And it's so hard to overcome that. And I like to show them what the law of non-resistance can do for them once they start thinking differently and access the laws, okay? We all had traumatic experiences in our lives, guys. I've had traumatic experiences in my life too, and I had to learn how to harness the law of non-resistance. But one of the most challenging things is having to break through an active trauma situation when you're trying to be successful, such as an important relative who may have been, you know, murdered or killed in your life, such as mine. You know, I've lost my grandfather to a senseless murder here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was actually pursuing myself, trying to be something in real estate and make something out of my life. And that was very hard to move forward in, you know, and I had to seek solace and I had to go back on myself. By being non-resistant in the true sense of the word, you acknowledge every circumstance for what it is, guys. And I had to do that, and that was one of the most challenging things that I had to do in my life, okay? Acknowledge that this actually was not a negative thing that happened to me in my life, but a blessing in disguise. Because I had to learn that life is not, we don't live forever, guys, you know, and we don't know how we're going to exit this universe. But you got to take whatever traumatic experience happened in your life, and you have to learn, what is this lesson teaching me? Okay, what is God trying to show me? And once you have that innate power inside yourself to know what God is doing for you and you know your purpose through this traumatic situation, you can succeed in anything, okay? If a cop pulls you over for a ticket, you could choose to curse him out, or you could ask God, what does this situation have to teach me? Does this officer need my prayers? Does someone in the courthouse need my spiritual blessings? The same force that brought that officer into your realm of influence is the same force that will provide the money you need to pay for your ticket, Okay? It will provide the money you need to pay for your marketing, even though I know you're probably facing eviction and you don't know where you're going to go if you don't pay your rent. You have to believe. This is one of the things that most people just don't use when they're facing major challenges in their lives. They're not activated in these laws. I'm activated in them, and I can help you. Okay? No matter how hard it is, you want to access the law of non-resistance to move forward and become successful in your business. Okay? All right, let's move on. Now, chapter 8, the law of forgiveness. We cannot be forgiven until we forgive others. As long as we hold negative thoughts of anger, judgment, hatred, and intolerance against others, we cannot be happy. It's not possible. Simply because while we hold those feelings, we're going to feel the results of them. All right? To be happy and free, we have to give up all unforgiving thoughts. Now, one of the most famous people that ever touched this earth, Jesus, he taught this law above all others and put it prominently into the Lord's Prayer. Not once, but twice. He said, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Jesus knew that all of our problems came from our judgments of others and their behavior. So when you're getting into the real estate and you're encountering problems and you're seeing people with behavior issues and anger issues and temper issues, and it's maybe provoking you to do something, then you have to understand that that's not for you to partake in. If they say something to you that's wrong, just forgive it and let it go. Okay? Become emotionless in this process and allow yourself to still see if you can get that deal with a pure heart. If people have done something to you in the past, let it go. Don't hold a grudge. Because if you do, your heart is going to become blackened and success is not going to become a part of your lifestyle. All right? You're going to have failure after failure after failure, and you just won't have any favor on your life after the failure. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Let it go. Chapter 9, the law of sacrifice, which is very, very, very important. I hope you guys are writing notes and putting all these notes in your notepad because you're going to need them as we move forward. The law of sacrifice states that to gain something of greater value, you have to give something up of lesser value. You have to. It's a simple concept but hard to implement. If you want to read an hour every day, you have to give up something, okay? It could be the TV, social media, video games, or hell, it could be sleep itself. If you're broke, busted, and disgusted and you got $2 in your bank account, what the hell you doing sleeping all day? It just doesn't make sense, okay? Now, that hour has to come from somewhere. If you're fat, slobby, and you're sitting there like, man, I need to get in shape, and you're sitting there watching TV and you got the Lay's potato chips, you have to sacrifice and give up that hour and go into the gym and work your butt off, okay? It's simple. Sacrifice, guys. Be hard on yourself. Have some form of small suffering so you can appreciate the success you have when you get it after sacrificing, all right? Now, self-control and discipline and self-mastery are the tools that will help you with the law of sacrifice, okay? Learning how to budget, be frugal, save, and invest in your business all have elements of self-denial and discipline, okay? People look for the path of least resistance when it comes to hard work. They are not willing to sacrifice for the short term in order to prosper for the long term. I tell all of my clients that get into Mad Paper Coaching, harness the law of success. If you're not willing to sacrifice, not the law of success, harness the law of sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you're not going to get success, all right? Chapter 10, the law of obedience. The law of obedience in many ways implies that you must have a willingness and desire to obey and respect the laws of the universe. You have to believe that these laws are real and that they can actually shape your life, all right? It helps us create a harmonious sense of understanding that the laws are real, and when we don't follow them accordingly, we will fail miserably at all of our goals, plans, and desires. Period, point blank. It is more important to be obedient to God than to satisfy personal drives or wants. Let that ego go. Access your higher self. There's so much more to life. There's so much more to a material piece of possession. There's so much more. Is God in control of your life? If you're truly walking with God and you know He is in control of your life, He will guide you to where He wants to use you and bless what you do. Think about that. Obedience is always associated with the promise. If you respect these laws daily on a day-to-day basis and you believe in them on a day-to-day basis, and you're working hard to see if this can actually become fruitful in your life, then I'm telling you, you're going to see it. You have to be obedient, all right? I love the law of obedience. It has helped me stay committed, stay determined. Now, we've reached the last law. We almost there to the real estate nuggets, the real estate gold, the real estate diamonds. Chapter 11, the law of success. A common misconception about the law of success is the belief that all it takes to be successful is to daydream about success. Although the power of belief when properly applied can yield positive effects, it takes more than belief to achieve great things. A better understanding of the law revealed that positive thinking is only a piece of a bigger puzzle. True success comes to those who not only assume the positive attitude that successful people have, but also develop the habits that have made these people successful, guys. Okay? Now, these are the 11 laws of manifestation that I want you to harness.